Good morning. It's Lisa with Lisa Heal Yourself. Woo! I'm out here on this beautiful snowy day, as always, and today I want to talk about something a little different that we don't normally talk about when we have chronic illness. People with chronic illness, chronic mental, emotional, psychological, physical, chronic conditions do not talk a lot about energy, vibrations, and joy, love, peace, happiness, playfulness. We do not talk a lot about good energy. There's a reason for this. Everything when it comes to energy is about momentum. It's about energy is a force, right? Energy has a life of its own. Energy expands and contracts as we do. And energy is always moving. And it's growing in the direction that we put our attention. So, there's a lot of things that I don't like about the law of attraction. But energy vibration is real. And when you have chronic illness, you're in very, very low vibrational energies, right? We feel sorry for ourselves. We're victims. Oh my goodness gracious, I almost totally wiped out. Oh, it's icy. It is snowy all around me today, and it's icy underneath this snow. Okay, you know what? I'm going up to the street instead of on this path. Now, what am I saying? Okay, energy. We can make it go for us or against us, but energy is always growing. It's growing in the direction that we point ourselves. And so when we have chronic conditions, chronic illnesses, chronic suffering, chronic pain, we often like to look at that, right? Look at this. I hate this. I don't want this. Poor me. Why do I have this? You feel sorry for yourself. You have a lot of anger, resentment, guilt, shame, frustration. We have a lot of feelings around our bodies and our minds and everything that's happening in our lives. And that's where we put our focus. And when we put our focus there, something else happens. Our energy is drained. Our energy starts to go like a snowball going downhill. So we can see this snowy day here. And I want you to imagine a snowball at the top of a hill. We roll it. It's picking up speed going down the hill. If we continue to stay in illness and look at all the feelings surrounding that, we continue to pick up speed with this negative vibration, with this painful vibration, with this victim vibration, with this grief vibration, whatever vibration we're in, we pick up momentum. Now that momentum is very hard to stop. Momentum is a force unto itself. It's difficult to stop momentum. Once something is going in a certain direction, it's very hard to stop it and reverse it. That's why getting to neutrality is so important. If we can stay at neutrality, we have a chance. But it's very, very difficult for people to go from bad momentum, from negative momentum, to a positive momentum. It's very hard to take something that is rolling down the hill at high speed and stop it and reverse it. It's much easier if it's already going in the right direction or if it's at neutral to push it in the direction we want it to go. So we know this. We all know this. Why am I talking about this? And how does this bring us to joy and peace and love and playfulness and all the good feelings that we want to have? Interest and creativity and fun. And so how many times when you have chronic illness do you literally spend thinking or feeling, allow yourself to feel joy, success, hope, creativity, passion, playfulness, desire, fun, silliness? How often do you allow yourself to sit in these momentums and allow them to pick up speed and go downhill? And I'm not saying this as a scolding, because that is just picking up more of the bad vibration. That's just adding on to the snowball going in the wrong direction. But often we don't even know what joy, peace, love, playfulness, interest, desire, creativity, curiosity. We don't know what all these things feel like anymore. We know they exist. We used to feel them on some level, but we forget. We forget the feeling. And we certainly don't know how to build a snowball and push it and let it get going in the right direction. And that's often because we're scared. We're scared of feeling these high vibrational states. And often when you have trauma, if you want to go back and watch my playlist on trauma, you can see how complex trauma is stored in the body and stored as patterns and subconscious patterns that can take over your life, right? These subconscious and really suppressed feelings are in there. We usually think, oh my God, I'm going to slip again. We usually think of subconscious and suppressed feelings to be negative. Often we think like, it is the anger and the shame and the fear that we suppress, right? Because we just can't handle it. And while that is true, you and I both know when you're suffering from chronic illness that those things are actually quite easy to feel, right? We do know how to feel suffering and deep grief and pain and anger and frustration and despair and hopelessness. And right, those don't feel, a lot of it is repressed. And if you go back and watch some of my videos, you will see that. However, I believe, and this is just my theory, but I believe that when we have trauma, we also repress, and we a lot of times, mostly repress good vibrations, good emotions. Now, why would someone do that? Right? We put joy, we put love, we put interest, we put creativity, we put playfulness, we put silliness, we put desire, we put all these beautiful emotions and feelings that we have deep down, buried in the subconscious. So I believe, and this is actually something that I've wanted to do a separate video on, that it's not only the negative that we suppress, but the positive. It's deeply suppressed. So this might resonate with some of you because some of you don't even know how to feel joy and love, belonging, safety anymore. Like these feelings, you're either numb to them or you're terrified to feel them. Or you absolutely forget what the feelings feel like. Or every time you feel them, you find a way to bring that energy, that negative energy and anger and sorry for yourself and victim and whatever it is back in so quickly so that you aren't allowed to feel these feelings. They're trying to come to the surface and you've just pushed them and buried them so far down that they're not even accessible in a lot of people. So I believe in deep, deep, deep trauma. This is what happens. Why does it happen? Well, because when you're in deep, deep trauma, you are in survival mode. You're in fight, flight, freeze. And if you haven't seen yet the most important video that I've ever made, I'll put a link to it below. It is very long, but near the end, I do discuss on a board how this works, how I believe this works with the fight, flight, freeze, fawn response in relationship to trauma and your central nervous system and why you are still sick and can't get well. So please watch that video if you haven't. But what I believe is happening here is that you are in such trauma, something has happened that has been so world-shattering to you that you're in a place of survival, pure survival. You are trying everything, fighting, fleeing, freezing, everything. Your body has gone through the trauma and has tried every conceivable response to escape danger. And when that fails because the trauma is too much, we start to repress everything. But here's where it gets complicated. Not only the bad, and not only all those feelings that we don't want to look back and remember again, but we have literally split off from ourselves. And this is where that video is very important to watch, the most important video I've ever made, because it will explain this in great detail. But when we split and fragment from ourselves, We do this to survive, okay? In survival, pleasure, playfulness, creativity, willingness, openness, love, joy, peace are not emotions that you need. So I'm going to say that again. When you're in survival mode and you are trying to survive, literally to live, to escape the present danger, the current or present danger that you're experiencing, i.e. trauma, you need to split from yourself and take all those emotions that you did have, those emotions that are great to have, the positive vibrational emotions, and we bury them because they will get us killed, right? The most important at that moment attributes and qualities and emotions to have are fear, right? Adrenaline, fighting, anger, aggression. These are the emotions that rise to the surface to protect you from danger. And we bury, we disown, and we split off from all that is good in the name of self-protection, in the name of trying to protect ourselves. The problem is that once the danger passes, and in some case, chronic illness is a little bit different because it's not an isolated event, is it? It is something that you continue to feel and picks up momentum like the snowball going down the hill. So these attributes of anger, fear, aggression, fighting, fleeing, freezing, all isolating ourselves, right? All these grief, fear, shame, all the emotions that we don't want are actually there to protect us, to keep us safe, and to have us survive in an ongoing trauma. And if you watch that video, you'll understand why I believe all illness is ongoing trauma. It's the ongoing autonomic nervous system response to trauma. And so when this happens, it's like our snowball has picked up, and well after the danger's passed, well after we've started to take back our lives and we've put in good health practices and we're doing all the right things and we're doing the physical work and the emotional work and the mental work, we're really digging in and we start to feel better. Why it's so easy, as soon as we do feel better, for those negative vibrations to take over and roll the snowball quickly down the hill, picking up momentum and speed. Because it's used to protecting us. It wants to protect us. It wants to keep us safe, and it has learned that this is the way to do it. It learned, maybe rightfully or wrongfully so, that this is the way to keep you safe. And when those feelings, strong feelings of love and joy and happiness and peace and contentment and everything good in the world, curiosity, when all that comes out, your body, your mind, subconsciously, very subconsciously and quickly, fears that more than anything. Because those are the things that if you get again into danger, if you are getting into that situation, are going to take you out. And so it will quickly not allow those things to gain momentum, to build its own snowball of happiness, joy, and love and peace, and roll it down the hill and pick up great momentum, because it fears if that trauma was to ever come back, you wouldn't be ready. You wouldn't be prepared. You wouldn't be armed and ready to take over and survive and save your life. So I believe that feelings, the good vibrations, the good emotions are really the ones that are suppressed the deepest. And I know this sounds crazy, right? But now you can understand why, that these are the emotions that are suppressed even deeper than the trauma itself. Some people black out the trauma. Some people do not want to remember the bad things. Your body protects you against reliving the trauma. But it also, even more so, underneath that trauma, protects you from feeling that safe, love, amazing perfection and joy that, you're right, it's your birthright in this world. Because it never, ever, ever wants you to not be ready. again. Right? It's like armed guards standing at the castle waiting for the war, but the war is over. They cannot set down their weapons. They just can't bring themselves to do it because it's their job to stay at attention. Because what if they need to be ready? So it is our job to retrain our brains. And again, I've got some playlists on this. I've got some videos on this. It's very important that we break these patterns, that we retrain our subconscious mind, and that we learn to allow ourselves to feel these feelings again. And that these feelings themselves don't trigger the trauma. They don't trigger the joy. You know, the love won't trigger the fear, right? Oh, she's too happy. Let's trigger fear so that she's ready, so that this will never happen again. So, yeah. So this is what I mean by it is our job to explore our positive feelings, our positive emotional states, to really begin to allow ourselves without guilt, without fear, without shame, without feeling like we're not worthy or that we're somehow bad for having all this joy, allowing ourselves every pleasure, every joy, every happiness, every feeling of safety, squeezing the juice out of life, as they say. And when those feelings of, I better make her feel guilty or shameful for this, or sad or confused or lonely or angry, or I better disrupt this in some way, we must retrain our minds to say, no, I don't want to be prepared. I don't need to be prepared. I'm done with being prepared, right? Because your nervous system just wants to protect you, safety at all costs above everything else, even above joy, love, and ultimately what you want more than anything, which is just to feel good and safe and loved and happy and peaceful in your own body and mind and soul. So we must consciously build this snowball of good vibrations, and then we must give it momentum. So I'm going to be doing some videos. I'm going to maybe be doing a video series on this, on how we can do this, how we can build momentum of what we want, right? This is where the law of attraction comes in. I don't believe that you think of a thing and you manifest it. That's not really the true essence of law of attraction, but it is what you think about and what you focus on. You gain momentum in that direction. And we can decide what direction and what momentum we want our vibrations to go. Do we want them to be negative? Because they will just keep going and picking up more speed or momentum in that direction. Or we have the choice to go into the positive, to build, it's like a muscle. You're not going to learn how to have love or joy or peace or comfort or curiosity or interest or success or anything positive unless you build it. You first learn to feel it. You play with it a little bit. You build it. You start to grow it. And then we pick up this momentum. We pick up speed. We roll it down the hill. We push it in the direction. And we just don't allow the other snowball, the other thoughts that are going to take us out of this vibration to come in and throw our snowball, push our snowball off track and allow the other one to pick up speed. We just want to keep building the momentum of the snowball that we want. Thus is life creation. This is creating the life that we want in the law of attraction at work. The real law of attraction, not the law of attraction that's vain and, you want $1 million, you think about it and therefore it comes. It's not what I'm talking about here. I'm saying we're going to start attracting the vibration of what we want into our life and remembering the good feelings and building up momentum on them. Because right now we are stuck. When you're in chronic illness, you are stuck in the wrong vibrational energies and you're picking up momentum. Day by day, that snowball is rolling harder and faster down the hill. And we must consciously build a new snowball, make it bigger, make it better, and pick up the momentum on that so that it has some weight, so that it has some speed, it has some force behind it, right? And that's what we need to learn how to do. So I hope this video has been helpful. I hope it's given you something to think about the next time a fleeting moment comes by of joy, love, guilt, peace, fun, anything. Don't allow guilt to push it away. Don't allow fear to push it away. Grab onto it. Start to mold it. Start to build it. And we will do more videos on this so we can learn exactly how, and I can show you exactly how. And then we'll build together. We will build a giant snowball of the right vibration and roll it down the hill. And that is how you roll into healing, my friend. That is how you heal your physical body, your mental body, your soul, your heart, your memories, your emotions. This is how you heal yourself and your life. So I hope it's been helpful, and I'll see you in the next one.